everybody. Today I'm going to be reviewing our pre-point work. So this is normally a class we offer on Saturdays for our grade 3 and 4 exam candidates to work towards pointe shoes. However, it is an awesome class for dancers who want to get stronger at pirouettes and really want to build strength in their ankles. So we're going to cover all of the material. Some of it is new that we have not even gotten to in class. There are a few things that you will need, and I will introduce those props along the way. And if you don't have them, I'll give you suggestions on how to improvise, or you can just skip that section. So to start, we want to warm up. We are focusing on the lower leg, so this isn't going to be a full body warm up, but I do suggest you do some jumping jacks or something to get your heart rate up a little bit before we begin. So to start, we're going to roll through our feet. So just placing our feet straight in front of you, sitting up nice and tall as you can. We're always working on posture and abdominal muscles. We're going to start with slow flexes and points 8 times. So we go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Really articulating through the feet, trying to warm up all the muscles underneath, all of the arches. 1, 2, 3. Last one goes 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just hold it there. From that position, we're going to go on to our ankle circles all the way around 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then reverse, go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now we're going to start working on the actual pre-point work. Now a lot of this is come from my training at the National Ballet School, where I worked with Irene Dowd. She is on faculty at Juilliard, and she created a lot of exercises designed for really focusing on specific muscle groups. So the first one is the most fun. My dancers really enjoy this one. It's called alphabet toes. So what we're going to do, and this is a difficult one to really see via camera, so I'm hoping that we can make this work. I'm going to pull my mat back just a little bit. You're going to lie on your back with your feet up in the air. What your goal is to spell the alphabet with your toes. So you're going to think as if you would with your hands, like paintbrushes, you're going to do it with your toes. So the letter A, I'm doing both feet at the same time. Uppercase, A, 3 lines. Then I do a B, 1 line, 2 circles or 2 half circles. C is a half circle, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So the goal is to feel that. Miss Ashley just corrected me from the side. The goal is to feel that in what we call your strap muscles. So they're the muscles that run underneath up into the sides of your legs. You might also feel it in your shins. It's a great one for helping with shin splints. So parents at home, feel free to do this with your dancers, because if you are a runner or an athlete, or maybe you just enjoy hanging out at the gym, these are going to help you as well, because it's all about ankle stability and ankle strength. So you can repeat alphabet toes, all uppercase, all lowercase, as you're building stamina and strength. You can also make sentences. So get creative. You can try a different sentence every day, spell it out, but you will feel quite a burn. That's totally fine. When you feel the burn, do 5 more letters, just to really, really make sure that we're working on that stamina. So that's our first official exercise. Our second exercise is our foot stretch, and I will take my socks off for this one, so hopefully you can see, because this one has a lot to do with alignment. So when we're working on this stretch, we're going to point our feet behind us, sit down on our legs. Now, what I'm going to do is just show you from the back. So you want to make sure that the ankle is nice and long and never crooked. So when you're sitting, your heels are directly underneath your sit bones, not rolling out to the side or rolling in together. from that nice straight position, you're going to grab one leg, slightly and gently pull up so you're feeling a stretch in the ankle. It's not about stretching the toes in this position. We want to stretch the fronts of our feet and stretch that ankle and hold for about 10 to 15 seconds, depending on how much you can tolerate, what feels comfortable, and what gives you a bit of a stretch. One leg at a time, really pressing through, feeling a stretch in the fronts of the ankles. Then you can repeat with the other foot. Thinking about that alignment, making sure your feet stay nice and parallel and those heels don't deviate to the side so there's no sickling going on. Good. After that stretch, you can increase it based on how much flexibility you want to work on. After that, we just do our downward dog position to stretch out those calf muscles. Thinking about elongating the backs of the legs, you can bend one knee and pedal through this position, really stretching out the backs of the legs. And then finishing by holding both legs down. Continue to think about spreading those fingers down into the floor. And finish. Good. So next we go on to a bit of strength. Our dancers that are working towards their pointe shoes, we talk all the time about how it's not just about the feet. We're not just assessing are your feet ready for pointe, we're assessing is your whole body ready. So one of the things we need to make sure is nice and strong is our core alignment and our core strength, as well as our posture. So how do we work on that? We work on our plank position. So you can either do elbows down or on your hands, it's up to you, but we're looking for a nice flat body position, really engaging those core muscles and holding for 30 seconds. Good. Smiling makes it better, I promise. So that takes us to number 6 on our list. We just finished our plank. So now we're on to conductor feet. This is another one that can be tricky. I'm going to put my socks back on. I just find against this wall it's a bit easier to see. So again, we're going back to that position where we're working on our shins and our strap muscles. So the premise of this exercise is to work on engaging the clench and the fan. So if I just do it this way, I'm hoping you can see, bringing the toes close together and the toes far apart, straight onto the camera, bringing the toes in and close together and far apart. So how we're going to do that, and the reason why we call it a conductor exercise is it's like your toes are conducting the orchestra. So feet are up in the air. We are going to clench them to begin. So that means that the top of the ankle is engaged. We're drawing the toes back towards us. We clench and bring our toes in together, and then we're going to fan them apart as we flex. So clench in and fan out. Again, clench in, fan out, clench in, fan out, clench in, fan out. One more time, clench in, fan out. Now we're going to do the reverse. So our toes are spread just like my fingers. We're going to fan them in together, keeping those toes really spread wide. And then as we go to the outside, we're going to crunch and pull those toes back. Fan in, clench out, 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 and shake it out. So for my dancers that have been working on this in class, you're going to have a bit more stamina than some of us that might be doing this for the first time. So we usually suggest 20 combined, so 10 of each to start, and then working our way up. So you might want to create a chart or have some kind of game plan as to how many you want to add each time you work on these exercises. Our pre-pointe students are encouraged to practice this 2 to 3 days a week. Now that we all have a little bit more time on our hands, it might be a little bit more than that. However, I think this is an awesome opportunity to remind you to drink some water, which I'm going to do, and then I'll be right back for part 2. All right, everybody, we are back for part 2. So everything we just covered is what we would cover in the first Pre-Pointe class. Now we're going on to our second part component. So normally we would review everything we just did, and now we're adding our points and squeezy flexes. I best describe this, it's as if you're jumping off the floor, except you're going to do it upside down. So I'm going to lie on my back, flex my feet. Again, we're working on stretch behind the knees and working through our toes. I hope my feet don't get cut off in this one, but we'll see. So we're going to imagine that we're pressing off the ceiling. You're going to go press and point. Miss Ash is going to adjust the camera for me. There we go. Press and point, and then we flex and bend. So you want a nice sharp action to go up. Point through your feet, and I come back through that curl position so that we're still working on our shins. Flex, down, go, point through, squeeze to flex, go press and point, squeeze to flex, press and point, squeeze to flex, press, point, squeeze, flex, press, point, squeeze, and flex. Now this can also be done in first position, working on turnout. Your goal would then be to try to have the knees stretch and meet at the top of the jump. So you would go point, squeeze, pull, back, point, squeeze, pull, back, point, squeeze, pull, back. As always, repetitions are up to you how many you'd like to do of each exercise. Usually starting by 8, adding on to it, or you can start in groups of 5 and add on from there, whatever you feel comfortable with, but just keep track of your repetitions because your goal is always to add more every time you view this video. Excuse me. Next, this one's just a little bit of a break. We call this the crossbody hamstring stretch. In some of our other videos that we're going to talk about, there is more advanced versions of this, but this is the first version that we do. It's a very small stretch, but what we're going to do is flex one foot up to the ceiling. Then we're going to take it across your body, and without letting that hip lift, we're going to keep that hip down onto the floor and just pulse that leg slightly towards the floor so you can feel an IT band stretch. If you're not sure where your IT band is or what it does, I highly recommend that you do some Googling while you're off on your break. Same thing, repeat on the other side. Flex through the foot, drop it down. Don't let that hip roll up off the floor. It shouldn't drop towards the ground too much. We're just going to pulse it and feel that stretch on the outside of your leg. Good. Then you can pull both knees into your chest and rock side to side. All right, moving on, we have our butterfly stretch. So sitting up nice and tall, we reach one arm across our body, and without letting the hips lift, keeping both knees equal in space, we're just going to press and twist to work on lengthening through our lower back. We're just taking the emphasis off our feet for a few seconds, letting them have a moment to rest. And from there, you can just relax forward. All right, so next we are going on to probably one of the most challenging exercises in our Pre-Pointe vocabulary. This is called piano toes. The premise behind this exercise is you want to be able to have just as much articulation in your feet as you do in your hands. Just like you play the piano, we want to be able to do the same thing with our toes. Now, it is tricky and it will not come easily, so please don't give up, just keep trying, and when you're first starting off, use your hands to help. So, I'm hoping this shows up on the floor. Oh yes, it looks good. So, on your mat, working one foot at a time, you're going to lift all 5 toes up off the floor. Now, you're going to think, just like if you were playing the piano, you're going to try to drop each finger, just like a piano key, individually. Now you're gonna try that with your toes, and you might need to use your hands to help. So I'm gonna hold up my 4 toes, letting my big toe be free, and I'm going to practice dropping it down and up and down and up and down and up. You'll feel underneath your fingertips, there's lots of tension. All of the toes are trying to go down at the same time. We're really working on being able to individualize the movement and really work on isolating all those muscles. A lot harder than you think, so parents, give it a try. Then you can go on to the next finger, holding up, or the next toes, holding up with your fingers, dropping the toe down, lifting it up, dropping the toe down, lifting it up, dropping it down, and lifting it up. Move on to the next toe, dropping it down, lifting it up, dropping it down, lifting it up, and continue on through your toes. The number of repetitions you do will be determined based on how much work you want to put into it and how much patience you have, because it can be a bit frustrating, so don't worry. Then your goal is to eventually be able to work on dropping them individually. I have a great concept going starting with my baby toe. Some people prefer starting with their big toe, but we do need to practice all 4 variations. Our 4 variations are with the toes lifted, started dropping from the big toe. Variation number 2 is starting to drop from the baby toe, working through your toes, and then the reverse. So 3 and 4 are starting with the toes flat and being able to lift up each toe individually, and then starting again from the baby toe. So don't be afraid to use your hands to help you. Make sure you've washed them before and after as you're touching your toes, but make sure that you're really focusing through that. So on that note, I'm going to stop the video for today because I think it gives you lots to think about. That is page 1 of our pre-point exercises. We still have section 2, 3, 4, and 5 to cover, but we're gonna add those in the weeks coming. So first, start with exercises 1 through 11 that we just covered and begin your pre-point journey. Have fun, dancers.